All right. Yes. Hello. I'm here to talk to you guys today a little bit about UI UX design in the world of industrial manufacturing. As mentioned, I had spent the last 5 or 6 years in the industrial sector working at Dynex out of Ann Arbor. Dynex is an industrial software, network security, and computer hardware manufacturer. So they do a lot of different things. And I worked on probably over 100 different custom software projects or Dynex product offerings as a developer and project manager and the overall UX design lead. Recently, I moved on to Cortex, which is a digital advertising and marketing technology company. But today, I kind of want to just brain dump some of what I experienced over the past few years working in the industrial universe. So this, of course, covers a wide array of different businesses across industries. And unfortunately, a lot of those businesses have not put much value in the past in UX or visual design. Just from a visual design perspective, they're kind of infamous for appearing really outdated or just having, downright cringeworthy UIs with a lot of the tools that people are using. And this covers thousands of software tools that millions of workers are using every single day. So, you have lots and lots of people for 8 hours a day or more using tools that really kind of stink from a usability standpoint. Some companies are starting to put a focus on design, which is great. The two on the right here are a couple of screens that I helped build while I was at Dynex. May not be the most modern or cool looking things ever, but people are definitely making traction in the design space in the industry. So in factory environments, not only do you have desktop and mobile devices, more traditional, media that you would be working with as a designer, and those are mostly on the business side, but you've got large format displays hanging from the ceiling. You've got touchscreen HMIs that operators use to actually interact with the machinery. Other handhelds, you might even have tablets that are like mounted inside of fork trucks. So there's a lot of environmental factors to think about. And as a designer, I found that this brings up lots of considerations you don't normally think of. So you might have, some of these touch screens that are multi-touch versus single touch, so you can take advantage of those gestures, or maybe you're limited by single touch. You might have like analog controls outside of the screen, so you could have a combination of UI controls and physical buttons and levers and whatnot that are all tied to the same network of data that makes up the system outside of just the software on the computer. You might have a lot of distance readability issues, line of sight issues if you've got lights that you're controlling or overhead screens where you're showing information in real time. Um, and this also brings about a lot of interactions beyond just the user. So we always talk about interaction design, user interaction, but in the factory environment, you come across very complex um, systems that might consist of lots of different types of devices. So you've got cameras and sensors and RFID scanners, and PLCs are some of the most common devices you'll come across. They basically store data like a database, but usually this is live data that you're reading and writing to the software in real time. So if a zero changes to a one in the PLC, within a second or two, depending on how often the software reads that data, your software is, updating some variable from a 0 to 1. So there's a lot more to think about, which, might seem like more of a back end, developer sort of mindset, but it really can directly impact the UI since a lot of these software platforms tie the UI directly to these data sources. So a simple example to throw out would be a button. The user presses the button, some value changes on the software side. But like I just mentioned, you might have, your data sources being written to or read from every 500 milliseconds, maybe every 1 minute, every hour. So these things are all configurable. And as you can imagine, this runs into a lot of latency issues or timing issues. So again, there's just a lot to think about outside of just the user and a screen, which really presents a lot of really interesting challenges. So all in all, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I could talk for 3, 4 hours on these topics, but My point here today is that we can make industries that might be a little underserved by designers more sexy, and give some thought to the industrial sector when you're looking for jobs, because there's a lot of opportunities sprouting up out there for UX designers, UI designers, and folks that like doing what we do. Thanks.